Draymond, Mark Medina, Bay Area News Group. With the performance you had specifically in the first quarter, what was the approach you're trying to take to set the tone on both ends of the floor?
Just take what the defense gave me, and they were all over the place. So just cutting and knock down a couple shots, and then on defense, man, just trying to do what I do on that end. Come up with some deflections, help out, and put some broad pressure on the guys I was guarding.
Draymond, Connor Letourneau, San Francisco Chronicle. Obviously, Steph hit a bunch of threes, but what do you think of everything else he did defensively, passing, rebounding?
I thought he was really good defensively, and the rebounding was spectacular. Obviously, we know Steph can pass the ball, and he made some great on-time, on-target passes. But the rebounding was incredible, especially, that was one of our keys is the rebound the basketball. With Montrez, they're a great offensive rebounding team. Pat Beverly crashed the glass. And Steph was matched up on Pat Beverly, and yet, he got a lot of rebounds. And, Pat Beverly had one offensive rebound. So, it's good to see him rebound that way, especially, where they really rebounded well in the first half. But, Steph helped out a lot with that.
Anthony Slater with The Athletic. What do you tell Draymond, or DeMarcus over here? DeMarcus, a guy who his entire life has, been the center of an offense, whereas today, they're ignoring him, and just kind of the awkwardness at times having to deal with that, playing that type of way.
To play his game. Obviously, you come in with a game plan, and you want to stick to that game plan, but at the end of the day, he's been as successful as he has because he's played his game. And so I think he just need to really focus on that. Don't worry about all the other stuff and it's his first playoff game. So that also comes with some jitters and some adjusting. If you've never been in a playoff game, against you, but also your entire team. You play somebody in the regular season, and granted, he's been the guy for so long, so he's seen double teams. But in actuals, like in the regular season, you don't really have much time to really focus on a scheme. When you're about to play somebody for a possible 7 games in a row, then, your whole scheme is locked in and everybody's focused on that. And so, that takes some adjusting. You see some rookies come in and it's their first playoff game. Like, there was no difference tonight between Landry Shamet and DeMarcus. It was both of their first playoff game, and that's kind of what happens. It's the first time you've seen that intensity. It's the first time you've seen that physicality. It's the first time you've seen somebody scheming the way they do. And so just continue to play his game, and, now he'll know the speed of a playoff game. He'll know the physicality of a playoff game, and he's obviously great enough to make that adjustment.
C.J. Peterson, San Francisco Examiner. Draymond, all season, teams have been kind of daring you to shoot three-point ball, and tonight happened again early in the first quarter. What do you tell yourself when you see that, and how do you approach that kind of space?
Yeah, my shit working now. All season, I really didn't care, but I love this time of year, so my shit work now. So, whatever.
Draymond, you were the first person to come at Kevin. It just seemed like you, after the Patrick Beverly, ejection, and it seemed like you were saying words of encouragement. But what is playing against Patrick Beverly like in a playoff series, and why was you so amped after that play?
There's always little games within the game, and so there's always stuff going on out there on the floor. Meanwhile, K was 8 for 16 with 23 points. It's a pretty solid night, at the office. So, that was good. And, I like to see people battle, and I love that.
Yeah, Draymond, speaking of scheming, what are some of the things that you guys would like to work on a little bit more to nail down that game to win?
Turn the ball over. But we can really cut back on those turnovers, And I think as the game went on, we did a better job with Lou Will. But early in the game, he kind of got everywhere he wanted to get to. And so, once we settled in and really, locked in on our defensive game plan, it was a different story. But, we need to be that way from the jump to start game 2, and I think we will.
Draymond, Nick Friedel, ESPN. With all his threes tonight, Steph now has the record for most threes in the postseason.
I don't got that?
Yeah. There's still time.
Crazy. How'd that happen?
You've been around him all these times in the postseason. Are you even a little surprised at just how quickly he's attained this record, given the greats that came before him?
I mean, I think he's attained a lot of three-point records pretty quickly. What is he now, 3rd all time? Guys have played a lot of games, and here he is, 3rd of all time in the middle of his prime. No, I'm never surprised when it comes to anything with Steph and shooting the basketball. I think, I don't think there's much argument when anyone says he's the greatest shooter of all time. I don't know if you can find many people to argue that. So, no, it don't shock me. It shocked me that I'm not the all-time leading three-point shooter here. But it don't shock me that Steph is, though. That's kind of a double negative, but you get where I'm going with it.
Draymond, Brian Benefitemi, KMBR 680. As a starting lineup, you guys outscored the Clippers starting lineup by 60 points. What would you say was the key to that tonight, and how can you keep that up the rest of the series?
I think we definitely have a great start lineup. And we expect to outplay people with our start lineup too. By 60 points. I can't necessarily say we expected that, but, nonetheless, one thing you do know about this team is 2 of their better players, and some people would probably argue their best 2 players are coming off the bench. And, that's obviously been a strength of theirs, this entire year is how much production they're getting off the bench. And mainly, from Lou and Montrez. They're 2 great players who, come off the bench and wreak havoc. So, it's not a huge shocker because of the production that they do get from there. But nonetheless, you never really expect to outscore anybody's star lineup by 60 points.
Tomer Azarli from Clutch Points. Draymond, Landry had that game where he had 5 threes in the first half about a week ago. And since then, you guys threw KD on him and sort of stopped the flow of the offense. How important is stopping Landry in terms of the flow of their offense?
It's very important. Doc had J.J. Redick for a lot of years. And, is also one of those people. Doc is probably one of the people that helped change JJ's career, and a lot of that is due to the great sets that he draws up, and now he's using Landry the same way. Ironically, Landry got to study JJ for half a season, and so he's playing just like that, and he can shoot the lights out the ball. It's important to take a guy like that out. He gets hot and it changed the whole game. But we've had a little time to focus on him a little bit, and he's a part of the scouting report, and that when you're part of the scouting report, it gets a little tougher. Nonetheless, we want to try to keep him under control in this series because we really know he can get it going, and if he does, it changes the game, which could possibly change the series.
Last one,
Grant Cohn, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. Montrezl Harrell had 26 points on 15 shots. What makes him effective, and what do you respect about his game?
I respect the guy who get it out the mud, and he's gotten it out the mud. No one expected Montrezl to be who he is in this league today, and yet, he's put the work in that he's needed to put in, and he'll be in this league for a long time. So, most importantly, I respect that. And he's a hustle guy. He's getting stuff, dives to the rim. Probably one of the best rollers in the league out of a pick and roll. He's super physical. He finishes great around the rim. He came up with some offensive rebounds and finishes. And even I think one of the things that's underrated about him is his hands. Some of those balls where we should probably be going the other way, he get his hands on it and he's coming out with it. And so I think that's one of the things that not many people really talk about is how, he has great hands. And, he get near the ball, he usually comes up with it. So, it was a good night for him. We got to do a better job on him as the series go on.